This means that a person brings himself to forgetfulness in a spiritual sense. That means that a person sways away from the basics that a person needs to be aware of in his relationship to Hashem. Instead of being involved in important things, in positive things, he's involving himself in things that will actually sway him away, mislead him. For example, Yosef. It says when Joseph was in prison, he asked that the Sarah Mashkim, the butler that would bring the water, the wine for the king, for Pharaoh, should remember him. So then it says V'lei Zochar Sarah Mashkim es Yosef vayishkacheu. He didn't remember him, and not only he didn't remember him, he forgot him. So what does it mean, forgot him? So the Chassidus brings a very interesting explanation. What are we talking here? We're talking about the Sar HaMashkim. The Sar HaMashkim is the one that brings the liquid. Mashkim means also the water. Water is something that tends to accomplish that everything grows by water, including the pleasures in the world. When a person is involved in pleasures and completely sunk into it, so therefore he then forgets about more vital things and in ideal things in life. And this is what happened by the Sarah Mashkim. The Sarah Mashkim, the one that was completely involved, relates to liquid, relates to water, which water sprouts all kinds of pleasures, was something that V'lei Zochar, he forgot what he needed to do, the favor that he and the promise that he made to Yosef, Vayishkacheu. Not only forgot means it's concealed, Vayishkacheu means it's sealed. It's out of his mind completely. Another explanation for the union of forgetting is a very interesting one in a verse in Chumash Dvarim, and that is Yishamad lecha pen tishkach. Yishamad lecha pen tishkach v'ram levavecha. You'll forget Hashem v'ram levavecha. Your heart will become arise with arrogance, the union of gaiva, self-esteem, gaiva. This is basically when a person is with arrogance, gaiva. Gaiva, the numerical value of the word gaiva is Gimel Aleph Vav Hey, 15, Shem Yud Kei. When a person stands on a level of gaiva and arrogance, he is driving away the Almighty. The Talmud tells us in Seta, in the tractate of Seta, when a person is in a state of arrogance, the Almighty says, I can't be with him under one roof. He's contradicting Hashem because he's not in a state of humility and nullification. He is standing out with arrogance. So Gaiva is contradicting, not only contradicting, it is offending the name, God's name, which is Yud Kei, the first two letters of the four-letter name of Hashem. That shows how deep arrogance could touch. Now the question is, and this is how a person forgets Hashem. Now the question is, what does one do to remember? In a physical sense, he's studying something, but he sees that he's not so successful. He's forgetting. He doesn't really remember it well. He has a problem with his memory. So in addition to the fact that the Talmud tells us in the tractate of Hodeus, certain things a person should not eat because it makes them forget. It says one of the things is olives, and other things that could make a person forget learning, not eat from what some creature ate, not reading tombstones that have letters standing out, just the ones that are sunk in. There's a whole, this is already from the Talmud.
The types of clothing.
Putting on two clothing at one time also brings forgetfulness, and taking off two clothing at the same time. These are different things which Kabbalistically are explained, what they mean.
It's interesting that olive oil is supposed to help you remember.
Right.
Olive is
yeah. So today it became a certain commercial. What people do is they eat the olives and dip it in the oil, and they think one cancels the other. I once saw it in a sefer. A person says he has no idea where it comes from.
It's not true.
It's not true. It's just somebody just decided to make a little canceling, a check on an X, and things like this. So they dip it in and fartik. But the Talmud says somebody that's used to eating olives says kosher l'shikcha, and it says even more yet. When a person eats olives, makes him forget his learning of 70 years. And it says, what recovers it? Olive oil.
What?
How does he have the olive oil?
But he squeezes it, doesn't have to eat this.
What quantity? Drinks it? Or can't drink olive oil?
No, he probably puts it in with other things. Because what's happening here is that the olive makes forget, but then there is an interesting conversion here that it's from darkness to light. Chassidus brings this example that give a look what an olive could accomplish and give a look exactly what the oil could accomplish. Exactly the opposite. Light coming from dark. Actually, light also, because oil is used for light. Okay, so basically one of the eitzes advice that is given is when a person is learning, it could be, I don't remember Shulchan Aruch, but our sages mention it. One of the things that are mentioned in putting on two clothing together is in Shulchan Aruch, in the first chapters. One of the inyanim of a person learning constantly and forgetting, so the Alter Rebbe, Rav Shneur Zalman of the Yadi, wrote also the laws of studying Torah. He wrote a Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish law, and he writes, a person should review, constantly reviewing. And if God forbid it comes to the state that they're still forgetting, he says, don't worry, because there's no forgetfulness. So over there, it's there. It's just that you in your mind, you'll have to retrieve it, you'll have to mark it. Another interesting example is, the Talmud says there's a person that learns 100 times, there's a person who learns 101. What is the difference? The difference is 100 times is learning, 100 times is the pattern. The pattern is 100 times. That's how they studied then, because they didn't have it written. 101 is breaking the pattern. The Rebbe's father was a Kabbalist, so he writes a very interesting explanation on that. He says the difference is very simple. There is a certain angel that relates to forgetting. That angel is called Mem Samach. It adds up to 100. So when a person learns 100 times, he's still prone to forget. Once he learned 101, he went beyond the numerical value of that angel. And then he's already sure to remember. It's 101 times. There's another interesting explanation when we're talking about 100 and 101. He says, there's learning 100 times. You can compare learning 100 to 101. What is the one? The one is the Eibishter, Hashem Echad. He is learning, he can learn Torah, but not always remember the Almighty. But when he's learning the 100 and 101, the Echad, he remembers the Almighty, that's completely a different one. I think there's a word from the Baal Shem Tov. So another interesting skula for remembering is making a knot. Making a knot either on the finger or making a knot on the... And basically it's mentioned in the Zohar. The Zohar and the Medrash. The Rebbe explains, just to bring it down a little into understanding, what connection does this have to memory? So the Rebbe says we can possibly say, since the idea of forgetting is something distant of Kedusha, in Kedusha, in sanctity, there's no forgetting. There's no forgetfulness in front of his throne, Hashem's throne. So the further it is, there's forgetfulness. And what do we write when a person distanced himself from Hashem? It is like a rope that he distanced himself and he tore it. He tore a few threads. The Alter Rebbe writes in the Tanya, in the third part of Tanya, in the Geras HaTshuva, what does a person do when a string is torn? He needs to tie it once, a second time, and this is the way to reconnect and to reconnect to godliness. So therefore, when a person forgets something and he wants to remember, it is through a knot, because forgetfulness symbolizes being distant from the sacred and the holy channel, from the sacred channels of the chain of creation, from the attributes of Kedusha. And when a person, because the format of how one reconnects again is the example of a rope that's torn and needs to be tied again. So therefore here also, this is the way how a person could connect again to Kedusha. This is basically with the knot that a person makes to remember what they have to do. Or they say, sometimes there's an interesting word they say, that a person, there's an expression in Yiddish, it's called Reit auf dem Pferd und sucht dem Pferd. He's riding on the horse, and sometimes he says, where's the horse? And he's riding on the horse. Sometimes a person could have something on their hands, they won't even realize that they have it in their hand, and they're forgetting, where is it? And I forgot it. So B'meila, this is basically the idea of Zikaron. And Zikaron, now we're speaking now in regards to the creation. Because the Almighty has removed himself from the creation, and the energy is removed, so he says, say verses of remembering, you will connect me again to you. Because what will be then is you will reconnect the relationship and establish the relationship between me and the creation and the Jewish nation. So therefore this is basically Zechrenes. Zechrenes doesn't mean he forgot. Zechrenes means as someone that's completely removed and doesn't even have it anymore in his mind. Because he has removed himself. He's beyond that. And therefore we say Zechrenes, that Zechreinchem Lefonai, that we're asking that we should have all the blessings for a good year through remembering through saying all the verses how Hashem remembers the creation and the Jewish nation, and how Hashem rules over the world, and how Hashem is also teaching us, and He Himself sounding the shofar and the different occasions that took place over the time of the prophets, and how the prophets prophesied in their thing, and thereby we bring down that the year is that we're inscribed and sealed for a good year, a healthy year, a sweet year, and on top of everything, a year of redemption.
When we ask Hashem to remember us, is it we forgot Him, or He forgot us?
He says, "You remember me." No, Fakert, I want to remember you. Zichreinchem lefonai, because He has removed Himself from the creation.
Or because the year has ended?
Yeah, because He removed Himself. So b'meila, He's asking her, remind me about you, because I'm beyond that.
It's for us. It's for us.
For our benefit, but He should remember. Zichreinchem lefonai.
But he removed himself. He removed himself so we can do tshuva, so we can show Him
This is
how much that
right. The idea of removing is like a father that removes himself, and the son is looking for him. But when we're speaking of Rosh HaShana, it's more the royalty. On the other hand, Yom Kippur is more the atonement. That's the time that we're asking forgiveness, and we're bringing down from a higher level a forgiveness that overpasses the level of Torah mitzvahs and everything else. Although we might have had deficiencies there, He overlooks it because He's taken from a high level.
When someone gets married under the chuppah, they open up his shoelaces and his ties. That's separate.
That's a separate thing. That's in order there shouldn't be any knots. Yeah, you mean the knots? You mean that's a separate thing.
So in the Zichronot, it's that we're asking God that we're showing God that we remember Him, so that He should remember us.
It's more that He wants that we should remind Him, and we thereby benefit from it, because eventually
remind God, Him of what?
Of us. It's the literal meaning in the Talmud is Zichroinchem lefonai. Your memories should come up for me. This is in the tractate of Rosh HaShana, page 16.
That is.
Our memory should come up for Him.
In what way? Come up
He should remember that we're here, that we're here, and we need a new year. And we need the blessings. We need Him to attend to us.
What